Okay, so I'm going to get started. This is worksheet 3 for my prose classes. Okay, just going to run through some of these indirect statement kind of rules. We talked about the slides in class. You guys have access to them on Google Classroom, but just a reminder, when we are translating an infinitive, particularly when it comes after a verb like I say that, I think that, I believe that, I hear that, I feel that, right? These mental action verbs, indirect statement verbs, whatever you want to call them, we don't translate them like infinitives. We translate them like verbs, like normal verbs. So an infinitive that is present, depending on the main verb, it might be is, it might be was, right? I think that he is arriving soon versus I thought that he was arriving soon, okay? Or I think that she is reading a book, I thought she was reading the book. Okay, so depending on the main verb, you're going to either choose the first translation, the is, or the second translation, the was. Okay? Same thing with passives, right? I think that the book is being written. I thought that the book was being written. So you really just got to feel it out. Perfect means completed, right? So if your sentence is in the present, right? I think that she has finished the book versus the past, I thought that she had finished the book. Okay? So if your main verb is past and you've got a past infinitive, you got to go past past, which is pluperfect. Same thing with the passives, right? I think that the book has been finished. I thought that the book had been finished. And then for future, it's will or would, right? I think that he will arrive shortly versus I thought that he would arrive shortly. So typically in English, particularly with those future ones, they don't really work if you use the wrong one, right? You don't say in English, I thought he will arrive, right? Or I think that he would arrive. They don't work unless they're paired up correctly. Okay. So all of these sentences contain indirect statement, and with the exception of the first one, they are authentic sentences written by our man Kikaro himself. This sentence comes right from the Filios Kikarones story. So you've already seen this on one of the other videos, but just a reminder, we start here with an ablative. I can make that a little bit, make this line a little bit bigger. Maybe. And let's go. Yeah, there we go. Okay. So filiolo is his young son. It's in the ablative case. Me. And then we have auctum. When you have a participle like auctum, really what you have is auctum esse. They've just left off the esse, right? So it is an infinitive. And then skito, that's my command, okay? So whenever we translate, we always translate the subject and the verb first, pretty much. Okay, so this is Cicero talking to his friend Atticus, and he says, no, skito, no, that me, I, auctum esse, I have been increased. But we go down the list of meanings for augeo. I have been enriched. I have been, my life has been enriched, I think is the idea. I think the best translation here, what we would say in English, I have been blessed with a young son. Okay? So we always have to search for that correct shade of meaning and think about how we do it in English, right? Filiolo is the ablative. So this is the means by which he's been increased, right? His life has been increased because of his son, by means of a young son. So know that I've been blessed with a young son, and then very curt Latin here because it was in a letter, so it's very colloquial. He just gives salva terentia, which is like saying salva terentia est, or salva est terentia. Terentia, his wife, is healthy. Right? And that's what you do when you give an update on the baby, right? Baby's good, mom's good too. Then we get into actual Kikaronian sentences here. Okay, so patere tua consilia, we went over this one in class, but just a reminder that when you're dealing with real Latin, they're not always going to come in the order that you expect, right? So we teach this to you as an accusative and an infinitive, an accusative and an infinitive. Well, he gave you an infinitive and an accusative. Okay, that's allowed. We know tua consilia is accusative because you sentis, you are the subject. And he's speaking directly to Cataline when he says this. So there's that nominative accusative debate, okay? You do not realize, you do not feel. And since it's a question, do you not sense, do you not realize that tua consilia patere? Do you not realize that your plans are in view, your plans are exposed, right? Pateo has an opposite, has an antonym. Pateo means to be visible, and lateo means to be hidden, okay? So we get two English words from that. We get patent, right? A U.S. patent, right? If you patent something, your design is available for everyone to see. They can't copy it, but they can see it. That's what it means for something to be patent. If something is patently false, that means everybody can see that it's false. Versus latent, if you have a latent ability, that's something that's hidden inside of you. So pateo, lateo. And I think he uses both of those verbs over the course of the speech. Constrictam here is really constrictam esse, right? So that's your infinitive. Conjurationem tuam, there's your accusative, and then you have non vide. So really what you have in this sentence is two parallel indirect statements, and they're ordered in exactly the same way, right? He starts with the infinitive, he gives you the accusative, and then you get the mental action verb at the end. So do you not realize that your plans are exposed? Do you not see that your plan, your conspiracy has been constrictum, right? It's been, let's see, how do I scroll me over here? Lost my, hopefully this doesn't mess up the stream. Oh, maybe. Oh. Just gotta get my, there we go. Okay, you guys can still see that, fantastic. Do you not see that your conspiracy has been constrictum? It's been reined in. It's been controlled, right? It's been constricted is the English word, obviously. But basically, do you not see that your conspiracy has been put in check? Yeah, and we'll talk more about that when we read the speech. Okay, that requires a little bit of historical context in order to really understand what he's saying. We also did number 3 in class, but he mixes it up. He gives us the verb at the beginning, right? Dixi ego. He even says ego. Whenever you put that pronoun ego, you are really emphasizing the fact that I am the one who said, okay? I said, idem, again, likewise, for a second time. You could just say also. I also said, in senatu, ablative of place, right? I said it in the Senate, meaning in the Senate House. Then we have an accusative in caedem. We have an accusative in te. We have a sneaky genitive in optimatium. And then we have our infinitive here. And then as we said in class, this whole big thing at the end here is a Roman date. It is 5 days before the calends of November. The calends of November are November 1st, and the way that the Romans would count, they would count backwards. So they would say the 1st, then the day before that, which would be October 31st, then the 30th, then the 29th, and then the 28th. So Roman dates are a little wonky, okay? So that would be October 28th. Okay. Oops. And a lot of times this would be abbreviated. So you probably wouldn't see ante diem. You would probably just see AD. You wouldn't see calendas. You would just see cal. And you wouldn't see novembris. You would just see nov. Right? So they love to abbreviate dates. Okay, but that's the full written out version. Okay. So I also said in the Senate that, now we go into our indirect statement. Yo, what up, Aiden? That, and we've got you and slaughter. So you have to think which one is the subject. Contulese means to arrange. So you arranged the slaughter or the slaughter arranged you, only one of those is really going to make sense. So I also said in the Senate that you arranged the murder, the slaughter, genitive of the optimates. You don't even have to translate optimates. It means exactly the same thing. You arranged it. You arranged it on that date. The idea is you arranged for it to take place on that date. So you arranged the slaughter of the optimates, I would say probably for October 28th. I think it's probably the best way to do that in English. You literally brought their slaughter onto that date, right? If you imagine, you marked your calendar, right? You said October 28th, real quick, murder all of the elite Roman men. Okay, cool. Right? You brought it onto the date. So I think in English we would say you arranged for it to happen on that particular date. Oh yeah, there's a synopsis here too. Sweet. Okay. Num infitiati potes. Num is a question word. Okay. It expects a particular answer. More on that in a second. Infitiati is our infinitive. It is a passive looking infinitive. But infitior means to deny. So it's a deponent verb. And then potes, right? So we've got our second person singular verb. Right? Then we get an accusative. Right? I got to make these a little bit smaller because these words are... Hope you guys can still see that. We got that. We got our accusative. Then we get a big old ablative phrase here. Illo ipso die. Commovere, we gotta have an infinitive. We got our te, another te. Contra. Oops. Contra takes the accusative, so we have a prep phrase here. And then we have our second infinitive of the sentence. So when one of your infinitives is potuisse, which is from possum, right? Both of these infinitives are kind of working together. So he says, num potes. A num question expects a no answer. So when he says you are able to deny, he's really saying you can't really deny, right? You can't deny. You know that, right? And then he says, yeah, I know that, right? So can you deny it? No, you can't deny it. You can't really deny that my accusatives are te and te. So one of them's my subject, one of them's my direct object, which means that it's reflexive. You can't deny that you, on that very day, non potuisse, you were not able, commovere, your second infinitive, to move te, yourself. You weren't able to move yourself against the Republic. Or we could say, you can't deny that you were not able to move yourself. Can you? Right? Or you can't deny it, right? That's the idea of a num question, okay? So a lot of stuff going on there, but you've got your subject accusative, you've got your direct object accusative. The word order is a little bit wonky, but that's Kikaro for you, okay? And then yam, our last sentence here. How are we doing on time? We're good. Yam inteleges. Yam just kind of means now, already, or at this point maybe. Inteleges, that second person singular, that's a future verb because of that e, right? So keep an eye on that. Multo is an ablative. Somebody, it might have been Lauren, identified that ablative, right? And it's a rare use of the ablative, but it's called the ablative of degree of difference. Okay. All that means is at some point later on in this sentence, we get the word acrius. Acrius is a comparative. It means more fiercely. So when there's a multo, it doesn't just mean that I was doing it more fiercely, I was doing it much more fiercely. And there are really only two words that do this ablative of degree of difference thing. Multo and Paulo. You can do something much more fiercely, or you can do something a little bit more fiercely. Those are really the only two words that do this. Okay, so molto Paulo. It's a very, very short list of words. Okay, and really it's always molto. Very rarely do you see Paulo. Me wigolare, so we get our, there's our comparative adverb there. Ad salutem. This quam, because we have a comparative, this is your than quam. I'm just going to put than there. Now you're going to see the world of Latin is sometimes a little bit wonky because, okay? If you're going to repeat a thought, for instance, if you say in English, my friend is cooler than yours, I don't have to say the word friend a second time. It's just understood, right? That couch is more comfy than that one, right? You can just say one. You don't have to say couch again. So sometimes we just leave words out. So what he's saying here is jam inteleges, you will now realize, you will now understand, you will now figure out. That's going to trigger our indirect statement that me wigolare, you will understand that I, me, wigilare, to be vigilant for, to literally to stay awake for. So I would take this verb and maybe almost treat it like an adjective. You will understand that I am more vigilant. I am more vigilant. Let's see. You'll understand that I am vigilant. I'm just going to say I look out for. I think that sounds a little bit better in English. You'll now understand that I look out for, and you look out for something in the odd plus the accusative. So I look out for the salutem. I look out for the health, rei publicae, the health of the republic. I look out for the health of the republic much more fiercely. I look out for the health of the republic much more fierce. Is that how you spell fiercely? I guess. Just looks weird in all caps. Quam, then you look out for its destruction. Nope, no apostrophe S because it's possession, not contraction. Okay. So the idea here is that ad salutem and ad perniciem are parallel to one another. I look out for its health, you look out for its destruction. They're both using rei publicae. Okay, so it's the health of the republic, it's the destruction of the republic. Me is parallel to te. Wigolare, we don't repeat it a second time because we don't need to. Okay, I look out for it more fiercely than you look out for its destruction. Okay, and our last verby synopsis. Okay, get my ducks in a row here. All right, table design, layout, here we go. Okay, so you guys are going to be doing a synopsis on the quiz tomorrow, okay? And I'm happy to sit with you in office hours and do a couple more if that's something that you would like to do. Okay, always happy to do that. So now that we've got the formatting all squared away, okay. So the verb is invideo, invidere, to envy, just like it looks like in English. Second plural and masculine. So we start with the fact that it's second conjugation. So invidatus, right? That E can't go anywhere because it's second conjugation. Invidatus and oops, that was weird. Invidatus and invidamini. So tis and mini for my endings. in we debatis, and in we debamini. So many long marks. Future, because it's second conjugation, bo be boo, right? So in we debitis and in we debimini. I do it in that order. It's going to be in the same order on your quiz. So boom, 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 boom. When you get to the perfect active, we use the third principal part, which is in weedy. So we get in weed istis, in weederatis, and in weederitis. And perfect passive, we use the fourth principal part. This is plural and masculine. So in we see estis, in we see eratis, in we see eritis. Muscle memory. Just enough practice on synopses, you get them. The imperatives, we would have in we de and in we data. So we just chop off the RE and then we add the TE to make it plural. And the future imperatives, in we de to and in we de to ta. So that's where we just add the to and the tota. The participles, these are plural and masculine participles, so we could say in one easy money, in we dentes. Those are people who are envying other people. That one doesn't exist. That one doesn't exist. In we see, these are people who have been envied. Okay, jealous. In we suri, these are people who are about to envy someone else. And in videndi, these are people who must be envied. Speaking of that ND form, we're going to use it again here for the gerund. So in videndi, in videndo, in videndum, and in videndo, right? So that is the act of envying someone. So genitive, the art of envying. I don't know you really ever say that. In the dative, it could be with a special adjective, accusative to show purpose, ablative for means, whatever you want to do with that. Infinitives, which we will be using a lot with indirect statements. In videre, in videri, in vidissa, in we see essa. And if this were indirect statement, it would probably be in we sos, because it would be accusative. In we suri, or in we suros, essa. And then this one we don't care about. It is in we sum iri. And last but not least, the subjunctives. Present subjunctive is where we change the verb vowel system, basically. So instead of an E, we're going to have an EA. So in videatis, in videatis, in videamini. Imperfect subjunctive is the second principal part. In videre, plus we add the ending. In videratis, in videramini. And don't worry about long marks. In videramini. Perfect active is third principal part. So in weederitis and in weedisatis. So remember this one you could think of as the infinitive in weedissa plus the ending tis. And last but not least, perfect passive in we see situs and in we see esatus. Okay. And again, if you want to go over any synopses, any particular parts of synopses, feel free to come by office hours and we can work through some practice ones. Okay. So I'm going to cut the video here, about 25 minutes. Thank you guys very much. I will see you tomorrow, which is Friday, and we'll take our first quiz. All right, guys. Oop, my mouse is broken. Enjoy the rest of your day.